Okay, so hopefully my broadcasting software is going to be working now. Sorry about the delay of the videos, if this is working, but basically I've been having trouble getting the thing to work, because it's, as you can guess, it's just been giving me a black screen every time I try to record, and I think I've found the source of the problem and I've just fixed it. But anyways, for people watching on YouTube, my name is Zenith. I play a lot of games on I play a couple of games on PC, but I play more on Xbox. Unfortunately, my Xbox recording software is not working for me, and it's just being a pain in the ass. So I've got to do what I can with what I've got, which is my PC. And basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you a quick tutorial on how to create characters using the virtual arsenal and port them into missions in ArmA 3. Keep in mind that I'm using some modded content, so the majority of this content that you see may not be available for you when you buy ArmA 3, and you will have to download it yourself, or if need be, buy it, because I have downloaded the deluxe supporter additional pack, which is basically a pack that lets you get all the DLC for free and supporter status on Steam, which is basically that. So let's jump into it. So basically, I've just stripped my character down to the bone base, essentially. I just need to remove his uniform and remove his beret. So now we've got our base model for our character. So the first thing that I'd recommend you start with is the face and the voice that you want him to have. So for me, I just personally prefer Walsh, but you can use any of these heads here. There's more of them up here. These designs, they're basically reskins of the first skin. I know they're reskins of another skin, but they have tattoos on them. They aren't available for people who have just bought the game. That you'd need to download the mod that has all these wonderful tattoos. But anyways, like I said, I just stick with Walsh because he's just my base character. If I'm wanting the face to change throughout the game, I use this Greek head because it looks the most stupid, and it's probably the one that I'd prefer not to use. It doesn't look that good. But basically, once you're finished with the head, you can now move on to the voices. So you can choose from Alshan. Some of them sound a bit Russian, like the first, second, and third voice.
Standing by. Ready. Standing by.
They kind of sound a bit Russian, in my opinion. I haven't really properly recognized the Russian accent before, but that is the closest you can get to it, as that's what some mod makers have used. Then you've got, of course, the Americans need to have a shit ton of unnecessary voices.
Standing by. Ready. Standing by. Waiting.
Standing by. Awaiting orders.
Ready for orders.
Standing by.
Standing by. Standing by. Ready.
Ready for orders.
As you can guess, really unnecessary. And then you've got the 5 British voices.
Waiting.
So you've got a basic Southern Londoner, sounds like.
Waiting.
Again, another Londoner, definitely a little bit of Cockney going on there.
Awaiting orders.
Some sort of squad leader sounding.
Awaiting orders.
Another kind of voice you'd expect to find in a squad leader. And then you've got
Waiting.
Scottish voice. Let's see if we can show you that again, because you didn't really hear it.
Standing by.
Scottish voice. Now all these voices, I would not recommend using these for characters, because they're basically all the same except for English VR, which is
Ready for orders.
kind of robotic voice.
Montazara. Montazara dasturam. Montazaram.
They're basically Iranian voices.
Ready for orders. Standing by.
No real difference.
Ready. Ready.
See, no real difference between these voices. So you can use these if you want, but I just recommend using their original counterparts, because that's just as good. Just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go with the Scottish voice. So, next thing you want to go on to is the uniform you want them to wear. I personally would use a British uniform, but for the purpose of this video, hold on, let me just check this one. I've never seen this one before. Oh, okay. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to make him a private military contractor. So, for that you'd need Pomegit's PG Services mod, which is essentially a PMC mod. So we want him to have this uniform with rolled sleeves, and I don't want him to have that because that's glitchy as hell. Right. So's that as well, unfortunately. You can get Australian plate carriers even. That's good. Right. Okay. What the fuck? It's kind of weird. Sorry if this seems to take a long time, but I'm just figuring out what kind of... Oh wait. This glitching out on me again. Yeah, this is glitching out. FSR for some reason. Right, let's just find a random vest and give him that. There we go. I've got his random vest. So then you want to move on to the backpack. This is not necessary, you don't need him to have a backpack. I just recommend if he's going to go into combat and you're giving him a vest. If you want him to carry a lot of ammunition, it's best that you give him a backpack. I sometimes just give them a vest that has a good carry capacity and just leave them at that. But, you know, doesn't hurt to be a little bit precautious. So then, again, another optional thing, you can move on to the headgear that you want him to have. I'm just going to use this simple black hat. You can use all kinds of berets, especially the new ones from the camp. Like, there's some new ones that have been brought in from the campaign. But I personally just use a cap, because that's how my characters roll in ArmA. They don't need helmets, they need caps. So then you can move on to, again, another optional thing is glasses. I think glasses and hats are more of an aesthetic added value, plus it kind of covers up the really ugly night vision goggles, if I can show you that, and that's not nice. So I just do without them. Some mods allow you to have balaclavas as night vision goggles, but I don't use that. If I am using any type of night vision goggle, then I use the NVG Recon, which is basically an invisible set of night vision goggles, because it just feels better. But for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to use any. So glasses, character like this, he needs to look awesome, so let's just give him some aviators for the hell of it. Binoculars, I just use the rangefinder because it's the best, in my opinion. And then all this will automatically be equipped for you: your watch, your compass, your communication, which is your radio, your GPS, and your map. So that's your character created. Now come to the bit where it kind of gets a little bit more complicated, which is basically just giving him his weapons. Well, let me just reposition him so he's facing this way. Thank you. So now that your character's been created, you need to give him his weapons. So you're kind of spoiled for choice when you install mods, specifically weapon mods, even more specifically the NATO Special Forces and Spetsnaz weapons, and the R3F French weapons pack, because they include a hell of a lot of weapons that you've got different variants of Kalashnikovs, or as people will say, AKs. I call them Kalashnikovs because it sounds better. AK-74s. I quite look at the Special Forces one. You've got quite a lot of weaponry here, but again, you're kind of spoiled for choice. I'm just going to use a Katiba carbine. Or no, I'm just going to use the Katiba, because Katiba carbine looks like something a pilot would use. And once you've done that, once you've selected the weapon you want, what you can do is you can now customize your weapon. And remember, ArmA isn't Call of Duty, so you don't get weapon skins. I think they're pretty fucking useless. If it adds an aesthetic feeling, but otherwise they're useless. So I don't really bother with weapon skins. So what you can do now is you can add different scopes onto your weapons. Again, I'm using a modded variant of scopes, so I'm just going to use this massive TA64B, or no, TA648 scope, which is essentially just what many people will mistake for an ACOG. Rail sight, you can get flashlights and infrared laser pointers, which only work in night vision, and they can be used to designate targets for squad mates or even aircraft if they're lucky enough. And then sound suppressors, so we're going to give him we're just going to leave his weapon unsuppressed, but I'm just going to stick with a flashlight because I find the IR lasers are useless, and the fact that I don't use night vision kind of adds to that, so I just use flashlights. So then you can move on to whatever rocket launcher you want. There's in the game, normally there's only a few variants of rocket launchers. Normally you'd only have the RPG 42 Alamut, which is basically this massive tube launcher. Then you've got the Titan MPRL, which is essentially a javelin. No, that's the Titan MPRL Compact, which is just a smaller version. And then you've got the Titan MPRL full size, which is pretty big. I just stick with the compact. I normally just stick with the compact, more specifically the Tan Compact, because it just feels and is easier. It feels better and is easier to carry, but I'm not going to use a rocket launcher. And then my favourite part, because there's a hell of a lot of pistols, sidearms. So I've got quite a selection here because I'm using Robert Hammer's pistols mod. I'm just going to give him a modern Desert Eagle because gold Desert Eagles are too mainstream. So Desert Eagle flashlight and a Desert Eagle modern muzzle brake. And once you've selected all your weapons, what you can then do is you go back over to your uniform, your vest and your backpack. You can actually fill in all the ammunition. So what I normally do is I add in the pistol ammo first. I give them around about 5 rounds. So that's 5 rounds. And I just use tracers, and I usually use 7 or more mags, so it's only letting me have 6, so it's a good thing I brought the backpack. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Medikit. Medikits and first aid kits, the difference between the two of these, if you haven't played ArmA before, is basically you run out of health pretty quickly if you're going to be a Call of Duty player and rush into a firefight with only an assault rifle and a pistol, and you're going up against 5 other guys. Because the thing is, your health doesn't regenerate in Call of Duty. Your health doesn't regenerate magically in ArmA, because ArmA is basically a military simulator. So it means that you need medical attention if you get hit. And the best way to do this is to either carry a shit ton of first aid kits, or B, to get a backpack and carry a medikit, which basically allows you to heal yourself or anybody else infinite amounts of times. So once you've done that, just fill in the blank spaces with ammunition or spare grenades, because it should only take up half of your backpack. This backpack, I'm pretty sure, is the smallest one you can get. So yeah, we've got our character. Let's test them out on some other dudes. I'm missing terribly right now. I've got like the shittest aim ever. And of course we've got our flashlight.
Hold fire.
Significantly better than the vanilla flashlight. You'll notice. Let's just stand up. And then of course grenades. Just frag these green dudes over here. And just to check that we've got everything, so we've got our combat clothes, our plate carrier, our assault pack, our baseball cap, our aviator glasses, our rangefinder. Finally, I actually get to use the rangefinder. Our Desert Eagle with all its attachments, our Cativa with all its attachments, plate carrier with a shit ton of ammunition, and our medikit. So that more or less covers creating a character. Now what you need to do is actually import him into the game. Now if you can save him and just give him a name, but for the purpose of this I'm not going to do that. What you need to do is you need to click export, and you need to know how to use alternative copying and pasting keys, which is basically just holding control and then tapping V and then letting go of control. So once we've got that, just go into the spawn in a completely normal dude, spawn in helicopter pilot. So just to show you that that character I created wasn't copied off of a mod, just gonna load up Stratus, or load up the game to be precise. So as you can see, this weapon is greatly different than the one we were using. Pretty much, all in all, a completely different vest, completely different coveralls. Vest is glitching out like a bitch, so I might have to do something about that. So let's just go back into the editor. So you've seen, completely different die. Hold control, tap V, and all this wonderful junk gets pasted in. Then what you need to do is just go hit preview again, and voila, you've spawned in your character. So that is more or less covering that. So that more or less covers creating characters in ArmA 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to define names. So if you go into the editor and you go into your map and you go into team, you'll see my guy's got a random name. Normally it's only your squad names that have, your squad mates have randomized names, sorry. In this case it's just use the name of my ArmA 3 profile. So you can change this. What you need to do is you need to type in this, set name, then put in 2 brackets, then type in his full name, which will be the name shown on the map. So let's just call him Andrei Sarkov. Don't ask me why I chose a Russian name, I just did. I love Russian names. So, Andrei Sarkov. Now, once you've typed in the full name, you don't need to type in the full extension of the first name, because if you're going to have if your second name is going to be a really long one, you might want to reduce the amount of characters you put into the first name. So just leave that as that, and because you will only be able to see my second name if I put a team leader down, or if I put another squad mate down, Sarkov, Andrei Sarkov. So that works. That doesn't just work with players, it works with basically any NPC you put down in the world. Except for if you spawn an NPC vehicle, like you get factions that you can spawn in vehicles, which are basically vehicles that have already got people in them, and then you can spawn in empty vehicles, which, like the name states, there is nobody in them, and they are purely open to editing. And the thing is, if you spawn in a faction vehicle and then you give it unlimited ammo and all that, and you give it unlimited health, that isn't going to apply for the pilots and the people inside it, it's only going to apply for the vehicle. So I just normally spawn down an empty vehicle and then I just use this move-in driver and then the name of the vehicle. I will cover that in a later tutorial. But yeah, this has basically just been creating characters in ArmA 3 and exporting them into the mission themselves using the ArmA 3's built-in virtual arsenal. So I have been Zenith, and I'll see you later.